All right, good afternoon, everyone. We will get started because this is a really short presentation. However, I would like to see us move forward in a very interactive way. I did create a slide and then I thought about it. I said, we have 20 minutes. I really want this to be engaging. So I really want to hear from parents. I'm a parent myself. Throughout any part of this presentation. So let me get started. So I would like to thank parent and caregiver TDSB for hosting this conference. It's very important for parents to get involved. So we will start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We all recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. This is a little bit about me. There is a lot more to me, but this is just a little synopsis. I'm a mother of 4 children, ages 18, 12, 7, and 6. I currently work at Oakdale Park Middle School as a special education resource teacher, where I go into the classroom and I intentionally support students' learning needs. Now, the topic we are discussing today is very close to my heart, and I wish I had the support and guidance in understanding how to navigate the school system on a whole when it came to the needs of my children. I know this may be of particular challenge, especially for immigrant parents. My hope today is to give some direction, some insight in better navigating the school system in the TDSB in particular. So we're going to talk about navigating the school system, and navigating simply means how we get about finding out what we need, finding information within the school that your child or children is attending. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into it, and feel free to type in the chat or raise your hand. Using the hand feature is actually below your screen. And I think the icon says reaction. So if you need to raise your hand, go right ahead. So the question is, who do you speak to when you have a concern about your child? Who do you speak to when you have a concern about your child? So I'm trying to look in the chat. Who do you speak to when you have a concern about your child? Okay. The teacher, somebody said the teacher, my child, the principal, the VP, the teacher again. Okay. Let's see one more. Other parents. Yes. All those are very important. Okay, next question. Where do you go when you have concerns about what is happening in your child's school? Where do you go when you have concerns about what is happening in your child's school? You can type your question in the chat pod, or you can raise your hand. Feel free to respond. Don't be shy. We're trying to get everybody engaged. All right, let's see. Principal, principal, parent council, teacher, principal, parent council, other parents, yes. Ward trustee, yeah. And we usually go to that one when the principal or the VP at the school is not addressing the concerns that we have, right? as parents. Okay, awesome. One last question, and if you choose, you can unmute your mic as well, and you can give your responses. What are some ways do you get involved in your child's school? What are some ways do you get involved in your child's school? Once again, you can type your response in the chat pod. You can raise your hand, and then I'll call on you and you can unmute your mic and respond. Parent council. Yes, parent council. Volunteer at school. Awesome. Volunteering to read, parent council. Yes, parent council, field trips, robotics. You parents are already are on the right track, already doing the right things. Lunchtime before COVID. I know. Before this pandemic, we were doing so much. No, the challenge is still trying to get involved. You know, how do we do that in a safe way? Walking school bus. I'm not sure about that. What is walking school bus?
Essentially, as parents, once we are pass the police screening test, we basically volunteer to walk kids from their neighborhood to the local school. So saving the kids from having to take the yellow bus and letting them get exercise and freeing up parents to go on with their day. It started in one way as an initiative. Some kids were feeling bullied on the way to school, so parents got together and did this.
Yes. And there you go. We try to incorporate the community, because when we are raising our children, it's very important that we network with other people in the community as well. All right, awesome. Okay. So we'll proceed. Finding your way around as parent, guardian, and caregiver. Now, how do we find out what's going on? How do you find your way around? Now, as a new immigrant or as an immigrant, parents usually end up finding out about the school if there's something going on with the child, right? So for most parents, navigating the school system is unintentional, and that by that I mean our involvement depends on the needs of our children. For example, if the teacher reaches out to let you know of her concerns, his or her concerns about your child, that's how we end up usually getting involved. If we don't hear anything, sometimes we assume that everything is okay, and we might kind of take a step back. Now, don't wait. We have to be, or you have to be, proactive. Parents, guardians, and caregiver. You can get involved and build a relationship with the school, and many of you have already said or written in the chat box how you went about or how you go about doing this. Through the school council, I read somebody volunteer to read, volunteering your time and your skills for an hour or so, and connecting with your child's teachers frequently to see how your child is doing. Now, I have a question. This was not planned. With this current pandemic, how are parents getting involved in the school? So feel free to raise your hand, unmute your mic, because at my school, the parent involvement was low, and even now it's even lower now that the pandemic has hit. So how are you parents getting involved in the school? If there is any involvement at all. So we had one parent who described walking school bus, and she talked about, doing the screening and whatnot. So that's how that parent is navigating this pandemic that's going on, to still be involved in the students' lives, in the school, in the community. So it will be interesting to see and to know how parents are still getting involved during this time, during the pandemic. Okay, let's continue. All right, so I'm not going to read through all of this, but the school council, and I believe they're doing meetings virtually now. And you can find out when they have school council meetings on the website. Sometimes some schools do a call out, but the school council, I find, is very instrumental in getting involved in the schools, and it helps to build relationship. It helps to disrupt practices that contribute to oppression based on race, class, nationality, abilities, gender, education, or language. So that's the one of the ways that parents can really get involved in the school and have a voice at the table in the school. Let me read, somebody put something in the chat. There are still opportunities to participate in council virtually. Yes, yes. I talk to my daughter every day. How was your day? And she shares everything apart from from the part of school council since last 2 years. Okay, so I'm understanding that you've been on a council for the last 2 years. Okay, yes. So that is very, very important, and that will also come up in the presentation, where parent involvement is crucial to your child's academic outcome. Okay, let's continue. All right, so we spoke a bit about volunteering. Parents and community members are encouraged to participate, to volunteer, as many of the parents in here are already doing. And here's a list of some ways, some of these things you've already mentioned, that you can help in your child's classroom. You could read with students who need extra help. So now that we know that we're doing everything virtually, perhaps if you connect with a teacher and let them know that, you know what, I would like to read to your class. I would like to share my culture with the class. You could perhaps do that virtually, right? So maybe that's the option, that as parents, and teachers, we can collaborate on getting parents involved in the school. Extremely important. Arts and crafts, arranging materials in the library, coaching sports, supervising children on field trips, even though that's not happening right now, that's still in the works. Serving as a speaker on topics related to the classroom. So let's try to connect with the teachers and see how you can still play a part in the school virtually. Okay, so another way is to connect with teachers. We know that we have the progress report that comes out shortly. We have the first report and we have the second report, right? And I encourage parents to look through those reports, especially the progress report when you get that report, and you might see something that you're concerned about. Then you have that conversation with your child, and then you might have the conversation with the teacher to see what you need to do to continue to support your child's learning. Now, some of you might have students who are on an IEP. An IEP is an individual education plan designed specifically for that student. It is a legal document, hence whatever strategies, assessments that are put in place for that student, the teacher needs to ensure that it's being carried out in the classroom, because this is what that particular student needs to help to support or scaffold their learning. So that piece of document, if parents are in here and they have children on an IEP, is a very important piece of document and very helpful. Any questions regarding that before I move on? Any questions? regarding report cards, parent involvement. Okay, so I'm seeing some questions here in the chat. As a teacher, I usually invite parents to my regular class so they can see, feel, and understand their child and me as well, see what I am doing. I did the same during virtual teaching and got positive results to help students achieving their long-term learning goals. Amazing. Very important, once again, to make that connection with parents and parents with teachers to build that relationship and to ensure that our students are successful. Let me see what else is there. I talk to my daughter every day. Okay, I read that one already. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, so that's what I'm seeing thus far. So any questions around progress reports, report cards? Okay. All right, so this is just it's an individual and group. These are individual and groups involved in a primary and secondary school. So this is somewhat of a hierarchy. You have the Minister of Education, Mr. Leche. Then you have the superintendent. Then you have the school board trustee. Someone mentioned that, you know, if they have any concerns, they might go to the trustee. You have the school council, which is one way that parents, community members as well can get involved in a conversation of the operation of the school and what you need to see in the schools. Parents are the engines of the school. So I encourage all parents to be a part of the school council if at all possible. All right, then you have parents and students. We have the principal and the teachers and teachers association. As a teacher and a parent, I have sat on student council at my children's school and at the school that I currently teach at, because I feel that is the heart of the school and that's where the most difference can be made. So I see a question in the chat, which I'm going to read. That's interesting. My son's teacher did not encourage parents to visit or to see what they are doing prior to the pandemic. Okay, so now that that's the case, as a parent, you should advocate. So, you know, you let the teacher know, you know, I would like to see, then now they can do it virtually. You can set up that time between you and the teacher, right? Okay, let's see if there's anything else in the chat. Yes, parents should feel like a part of the school community, and whether that is inviting the parents to into the school to see the classroom, to see what it looks like, to see where your child sits, to see samples of your classwork, it makes you feel like you are involved. Now, curriculum night is coming around in elementary school. I know at my school it is October the 28th, and that's one of the ways we're trying to engage parents and get parents involved. We know that parents are busy, but I cannot emphasize enough how imperative it is for our parents to get involved. Okay, so I'm reiterating the same thing here on this slide. Your involvement in your child's education hinges on their academic success. So I want you to let that seep in, right? I know many of us probably work. When we come home, the last thing that we want to do is sometimes pick up a book and read to our kids. But we have to remember that this is an investment and we need to invest in our children so that they can become successful human beings, Canadian citizens. All right. Okay. So how can I help my child? There are so many ways beyond these 4 points that you can really get involved with your child. And you can have high expectations for your children. Encourage them, because at elementary stage, even at the secondary stage, a lot of encouragement is meaningful to the child, because if they see that the parents, the caregiver, believes in them, they will internalize that and they will believe in themselves. So use a lot of positive narrative words to your children. And if teachers are in here, I'm sure teachers constantly encourage their students in the class to be the best that they can. Talk about school. One parent already mentioned that she speaks with her child about her day. And that's also important. If you have a chatterbox like my daughter, you don't even have to ask. The moment the door is open, she's talking. So it's important that you try to get that, conversation. How was your day? What happened at school today? I was thinking about you today while I was at work, and I was wondering what you were doing. Try to build that conversation with your child. Thirdly, help your children develop a positive attitude toward learning and good work habits. So what does this mean? Attitude toward learning. Talk about the benefits of academics in terms of what they want for their life and their future. Talk about it building critical thinking and helping them to think outside of the box. If there's a problem, there's not only one way to solve it. And how do you create good work habits? Well, I can only speak to my situation. You build in a routine. Maybe you sit with your child and you create some sort of routine. When you come home, you wash the dishes, then you go do your homework. After homework, you probably watch 45 minutes of TV. Create some sort of expectation and routine, and have that child involved in the expectation so they could set it for themselves and hence be accountable, because they are the ones who help to create this routine. Read together in any language. So I'm seeing a lot of students that I support who are not reading, and it concerns me a bit because you could see it in their levels. So I'm encouraging parents, no matter what it is, in whatever language you speak, read to your child, or encourage that child to read. Libraries are now open. I believe you still can do pickups, right? Borrow books from the library. There's online resources such as Epic, but there's nothing like a good old book that you can feel and touch. But if the library is not available to you, then I encourage you to go online and read. Okay, question time. Even though we've been doing that throughout the presentations, feel free, please, to interact, and any questions that you have. I'm seeing one message in the chat. Sorry to hear this. Oh, yeah. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I would like to ask a question. So you're suggesting that the schools and the teachers should be sort of open to any parent wanting to come there and see what they're doing and engage. But I mean, since my child started going to that school, the front administration have been the gatekeepers, and I didn't even know the actual layout of the school until he'd even been attending there for several years, because the upper layout classrooms are all open concept, and I was not even aware of that. So
yeah. So however, I believe it's possible to find a way with virtual learning or using virtual platform? Yes, I do. So maybe as a parent, you say, you know what, I really want to see what the layout of the school is like, what the classrooms look like. Could you do a video on that? They're not going to tell you no necessarily, because you have an interest in the school. Even if it's your child's classroom, you could set up a time with the teacher. Usually you'll go in and see what the class is like, but because of the current situation, parents are unable to do so. And yes, administrators are gatekeepers. We're trying to keep our students, our staff safe. So that is
Oh, I
what's
mean,
happening.
this was started, like years ago. Like he's in grade 3 now, and from he started there in junior kindergarten. They basically wanted to keep the parents out, but you're suggesting that the parents should always have been able to come into the school. Like this
I
is
think you
all
should.
prior for pandemic.
Yeah, I think so. I as a parent, I want to see, for me as a parent, I want to see my child's classroom, my child's learning environment. And like I said, the student council is the heartbeat of the school. And as a parent, you do have a voice. You can advocate on behalf of your child. And if you have that conversation with admin, I'm almost sure they'll have to somewhat open the door for you to explore your child's classroom. But having said that, I know with COVID, they're preventing people from coming inside. So I'm suggesting maybe they could do it virtually.
Yeah, I think that's a good solution.
Any other questions? I think there is one in the chat. I'm going to check that out. Does parental attendance at school councils drop off at high school versus elementary? If the attendance drop off, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know that I followed my eldest from elementary straight to high school, but perhaps it does, but I don't have any facts on that. Better talk to the teacher first, because sometimes policies and protocols prevent teachers also to discuss. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So it's always important to have open communication. Never feel as if there's not an avenue to have a conversation with admin, to have a conversation with the teachers. Yes. Any other questions?
I was hoping that you would be able to discuss some of the more intricate administrative stuff around, say, visiting the social workers or the psychologists, the support staff, all of that stuff that's supposedly in the school, and accessing those type of support.
Okay, so in regards to that, let's say there's a student or that needs that level of support, you would and you're the parent and you're noticing that. So during the pandemic, I know a lot of our students have had to deal with issues of isolation, lack of socializing. And so I know parents have reached out to administration in regards to that. Admins would speak to the teacher, will bring, and the teachers in the school, they have a team meeting. So the teacher, the VP, and myself, who is the special education resource teacher, would come in and we try to discuss the child and see what's going on. And in that event, we might probably say, maybe we need to refer the child to a social worker to help address some of the social and emotional needs. So you can have that conversation with your child's teacher. You can have it with admin, and the school will be quick to act to support your child's needs, even if it's a psychologist. So the psychologist in the school, we have a psychologist for our school who does, let's say the child has a learning concern and the child requires more support than teacher intervention. The child might do a psychoeducational assessment, which the teacher might be noticing something in the classroom. And so once again, you know, we might have a meeting with the teachers, the principals, myself, to discuss that child's learning needs based on certain things that we're seeing. Did I answer your question?
Well, I mean, I was just in terms of accessing those types of professionals and who is available and the best resources to access for your child. There's no information to parents as to know how to actually proceed with accessing the best support. It's very sort of piecemeal. Like, is there some way that we can know, okay, these are the people that are available to your child, and this is how you
Yeah,
contact them or
right.
refer to them, etc.
I would suggest that you call the principal, and they will be able to give you the names of, you know, the social worker, the psychologist. They will be able to guide you better because they have different, they call them paraprofessionals, the sociologists, the social worker, sorry, psychologist, speech and language pathologist. Each school probably have their own assigned paraprofessionals. So you would have to call the school, speak with the principal directly, or speak with your child's teacher to access that information. I hope that helped. But I do understand sometimes you feel like a fish out of water, and it feels very difficult to kind of find the people who you need at the time. But speak with the principal or the teacher to try to access these people who can help to support your child's learning needs or social and emotional needs. Don't get frustrated. I'll encourage you to continue. You know, as you go along, as you press along, you learn more a little bit each time. You know, you meet and connect with people, and eventually issues might get resolved. Okay, I think I'm over my time. It was a pleasure presenting. Thank you everyone for participating. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Does the board have a list on type of services? Yes, they do. If you go on their website, TDSB, and you just type in the search engine what you're looking for, they do. It's just navigating the site. Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.